Hey, welcome to the 10-minute daily reality check. David Wygant here. Today's reality is awesome. We got Brian Howie. He's the king and the master of the Great Love Debate, one of the best shows ever. And I'm going to allow him to plug his 250th show Thursday night at the Hollywood Improv right off the bat. And then we're going to go deep into a subject that Brian came up with that's slightly controversial, but I got to tell you, I think I like it. So, Brian, tell us about the Great Love Debate tomorrow night in Hollywood.
It's Thursday night, this Thursday, April 13th, in Hollywood at the Hollywood Improv. It's our 250th show. We have been to 79 cities. We've been to a bunch of countries, and we are bringing the Great Love Debate tour home to Los Angeles for a big 250th. We got a great crowd coming. We got a great lineup on the stage, including you.
I know, and Pat O'Brien, right?
Pat O'Brien. Pat's great. He's got all kinds of opinions on love, sex, dating, relationships, and it's going to be fun, yeah.
Pat has been married how many times?
Pat's been married a couple of times, but he's living the good life now. He's, he's in his 60s, and he's got a wealth of experience and a lot of knowledge and some funny stories, and he's sober. So we'll see.
Yeah, Pat's always been like the guy from the NFL Today show, and then he did a game show, and then he did something else.
And then he did Access Hollywood. He did the Insider, and then he had a voicemail scandal, and things kind of blew up.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a voicemail scandal. It would kind of blow up. Maybe we should get some more listeners out there, have a good voicemail scandal, and do it. So you said something that I really like. Our friend Jonathon Aslay, loved my idea of 30 days of dating somebody with no sex. Like this was some miraculous new discovery we made. Then you topped it off, which I really like, with 100 hours. Tell me a little bit about this 100-hour theory.
Not to debunk your 30-day thing. Here's the problem with the 30 days, which is a traditional thing. 30 days could mean 2 or 3 dates, first of all. Second of all, I could do 30 days in my sleep. It doesn't mean I like you. Like 30 days doesn't really mean anything. Lots of people can go 30 days without sex. So that's sort of an arbitrary, random thing that isn't really going to prove anything. So what we came up with a couple of years ago was 100 hours. And that could mean you spend, every day with somebody for 5 days, or it could mean it takes 3 months. What 100 hours means, as opposed to certain traditional things like 4 dates or 30 days or this, is in order to spend that amount of emotional time and physical time, or even virtual time, if you're talking about online or texting or whatever, you have to be focused on that person to a certain degree. You have to be committed to it. 100 hours, you have to be able to establish, I'm interested in you, I like you, I'm going to find out things about you. You can't fake 100 hours. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it really does, because you can fake. I mean, at our age, we can fake 30 days, no problem.
Because most of the time, a lot of us go 30 days without sex anyway. So it's not.
But it's funny. I had a young guy post today, and he goes, 30 days, man, you're going to be in the friend zone if you wait 30 days. And I'm thinking, like, you don't know how to seduce. But I like the 100-hour thing. Now, can we count texts? Can we count phone calls?
I think you start the clock at the first date. Okay. Meaning, if you're on Match.com and you go back and forth for a month, that time doesn't count. It starts from when you first meet, and then if some of that is dates and some of that is texting and some of that is phone time, I think it's all about spending 100 hours getting to know each other. And once you sort of reach that point, I think that's about the amount of time that you can assess, do we like each other enough to move forward, with a relationship? I think that's a fair amount of time, Dangling sex is sort of this carrot or referendum on where you are in a relationship. I'm not sure that matters, but 100 hours, and again, you meet on a first date and you spend a whole weekend together, well, you're knocking 80 hours right off the bat right there.
Well, yeah, you're actually powering through the 100 hours in a smart way.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't feel like Stairmaster time. It should feel like you're moving towards something. And we brought this up at a lot of Great Love Debate shows where I ask our audiences. So we've had to have a pretty big consensus. Is 100 hours a reasonable amount of time to devote to somebody to figure out if this is somebody you're interested in having a relationship with. And most people really like that number. It could be a little more, it could be a little less, but it's the amount of time you're giving to somebody that you can't fake. You can't fake 100 hours. You can fake 30 days,
It's interesting because this brings me back to like the 80s in New York. When I hooked up with somebody and turned it into a relationship, we would meet, we would hang, we would spend the entire weekend together. We'd go to Central Park. We'd hang out Monday and Tuesday night. And you're right. We probably put 100 hours in after a week, and then we had sex. And
right.
Like, oh my God, I slept with her after a week. But no, I slept with her because I put the time in.
Yeah, that's real time. It's not like only a week. I mean, again, 30 days or 60 days, you go out once or twice a week. That doesn't mean anything. That's maybe 15 hours. And you could touch base on Tuesday and set up dates for Friday. You could do that 4 times and suddenly a month has gone by. That's why the 30 days is really arbitrary. And a lot of men know that women think, oh, I'm just going to wait 30 days because that's what women have told each other. And so we'll do that. I know people that, after a while, men will, want some return on their investment. I think 100 hours, you have to invest the mental time to get through 100 hours. And you don't have to invest too much mental or emotional time to get through 30 days. That's why the 30 days is just not going to work. But 100 hours, you can do it as quickly or as slowly as you want, both people. It shouldn't feel like work, and you're going to get there eventually anyway. But if you, spend 100 hours with somebody in 2 weeks, you should be sleeping together.
Yeah, you really should. It's interesting because it is, especially in today's ADD world, 100 hours is a commitment. 30 days, you're basically roster fucking at that point because you know what? Most people are putting people on the bench. They got the bench warmers, they got the people that they're hanging out with. And you know what? You can easily reignite somebody after 21 days and then spend a few more days with them and all of a sudden get to your 30-day mark. I like the fact that the hours are actually telling, especially as a man to a woman, you're telling her, hey, I'm interested in you. I want to get to know you. I'm committed to getting to know you. All the words that I think modern daters are really afraid to say.
Yeah, you could juggle 5 women for 30 days. That doesn't do it. 100 hours, though, takes some mental capacity and some emotional investment. And I think if either party is willing to do that, and again, it shouldn't feel like work and it shouldn't be like you're counting the time, but you'll know when you spent that amount of time. It could be, it could happen in 5 dates. It might happen in 15 dates, but that's enough to get to know each other to figure out the relationship. I never think you should tie any of these things to sex. I think you should do it when you're both ready to handle it either way, because that does change your relationship. A lot of women will wait for a long time and have sex with the guy and the sex sucks and then they're out of there. And so you shouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to wait till we're in a committed relationship to have sex. You're not committed until you have sex. So however long you want to wait to do that and then deal with it is fine. But I think to assess, do we want to go forward in a relationship? I think the 100 hours is a pretty good benchmark.
I like it too, because a lot of people get dickmatized and pussymatized, when they have sex too fast and they go under the influence of the oxytocin. And 100 hours gives you an opportunity to get to know them on a daily basis. You get to know what they're like if they don't text you for a day and a half because they're stressed at work. That's just a preview of what the relationship is going to be.
Yeah, I think
ignore that stuff.
In 2017, you got to get into a rhythm of communication, and sometimes that's a call, and sometimes that's text, and sometimes that's in person, and that's going to take a little bit of time. So, all of that adds up to get in sync, and then when you get in sync on that stuff, I think you can get in sync sexually a lot easier.
I agree. I want all of you to send the feedback. How long are you willing to wait for sex? 100 hours, 50 hours, 30 days? What do you think is realistic for you? And think about Brian's pitch here, because it's actually building a relationship. Isn't that what we all want? So, Brian, tell them again where we're going to be on Thursday night. The Hollywood Improv, is it 7 or 7:30?
8.
8? See that? I'm going to be there at 7. So
you should be there at 7, and we'll count that as part of your 100 hours.
That's right. I will be there at 7 o'clock. So if you want to sit down and talk to me, I will be there at 7 o'clock because I want to get there, because I remember the last one that we did a couple of months ago was a fucking blast. So it's Improv, pitch it again. Tell them where they can get tickets.
Go to greatlovedebate.com for tickets and information. It's at the Hollywood Improv on Melrose here in Los Angeles. It's going to be a blast. David Wygant, Amy Paffrath from Dating Naked, the host. She's on our stage. Pat O'Brien, Julie Furman. We got a lot of people and a couple hundred of Los Angeles' finest men and women. It's going to be great.
I can't wait. Brian, thanks for joining us via Zoom, man. My new thing, Zoom. I love Zoom. All of you, come back tomorrow for self-help that doesn't suck on the 10-minute daily reality check. 10 minutes is all we ever need to change your mind about 100 hours for sex.